I'd say the logistical stuff that both FedEx and Amazon can do from my employees. Yeah, not too long ago, I had a package coming from Nottingham, England, as soon as it showed up to the airport.
Not a lot, what do you know?
You can literally send fresh cookies over. If you want to.
How you like, badge?
I just feel the need that.
Email when it's there. Sometimes with the text that's there. And that drives people's on an address.
Now, they don't always keep it delivered that way.
Right. It's everywhere, but in Hubbard,
But I don't see
you go on Amazon website, where's my package? And we'll show them. Seriously, you know, it's around the corner, 3 more days.
You're never gonna do that, but that, it does not stop.
Yeah.
It does, because you carry it is everywhere.
Who was this?
One little skate.
Yeah.
GPS.
I get it. And then last 2 weekends I had one shift.
Just lucky I've never had a package notification show up. It says it's falling in the ocean, or it's gone missing.
And I did have
Steve
one.
and I were
Files for airbill. Your package might be lost. You want the island or you want to listen to
I
them?
haven't been there. I mean, my wife's coming.
How do you know it's lost?
That's another one.
Her and my son goes single day Thursday and then. My wife and I are heading up to Kewanee. Okay. You know, I mean,
We're gonna kick this thing off at 7 on the dot. Okay, the end of the forum. And when that's Audrey, I knew it would be Councilor Audrey.
Unexpected.
Now we have a buffer.
Is that what they did? So is this a flat lot on the south side?
Letters oil. Yeah.
Okay. You guys do that every year now?
Gina does.
Oh, you went there? Oh, I did too.
Rick and.
Oh, that's what Ben said, Rick and Brenda. Yeah.
We're recording. This is-
All right, one shot. I heard you say the term one shot. Have you ever seen the show After Party?
Yes.
Where you only get one shot? That's. We always do that. That's. Ladies and gentlemen. That seems so distant now.
Right.
All right, let's call this thing to order. It's 7 o'clock at my watch. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I'd say welcome to our December council meeting, but it's only council and city administration at this point in time. But still, thank you all for showing up. We do have Councilor Youngley online, so we do have a whole group here. Before we get started, there are only 3 items, basically 2 items on consent agenda. Is there anything that someone wants to pull out from those 2 items for discussion? No, no. Councilor Youngley, are you okay leaving consent agenda as is?
Yes, I'm fine with the way it's set up.
Perfect. Then with that, let's jump right into our regularly scheduled meeting. We'll go with the update on the expansion of the metropolitan planning area, and I'll hand that over to Administrator White.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Staff has been providing council with updates on a monthly basis regarding the expansion of the metropolitan area into Aurora and Hubbard. In your packet, the council memo associated with this update provides several definitions to help with the understanding of the multiple facets of this expansion, and also summary of conversations that I've had and decisions that have been made thus far. I would be happy to review any definitions or go into this memo more in depth, but I would like to start out with kind of a high level overview first. Staff has had several meetings with, the Tri-County Metro, the COG, ODOT, Marion County, Woodburn, and Aurora, to discuss the metro expansion and what it means for Hubbard. I think that it's important to note that in terms of the metro planning area, this in no way has anything to do with the metro taxing district. So these are two very separate discussions. Metro taxing, actually, in Oregon, there's two metro taxing districts. There's one in the Tri-County, that's labeled TriMet. And then there's one in Lane County, which is the Lane Mass Transit District. So there's only those two. The metro planning area is very specific to transportation system planning and not associated with mass transit, so bus, the train, anything like that. So when we talk about any sort of taxing, moving into Aurora and Hubbard, that is not expected at this time. I'm not going to say sometime in the future, years from now, that couldn't happen. But what we're looking at over the next 20 years, that will not be happening.
Right. If
Also-
I can just add one quick point, just because I know Councilor Thomas wasn't at the last one. The metropolitan planning areas are nationwide.
Okay.
It's based off of census. The 2020 census is what caused this one. Every 10 years they go through, and by federal law, they go through and they redefine what a new metropolitan. So Phoenix has one, Cincinnati has one, et cetera. So this, when we first saw this, our original fear was metro.
Right.
And it, yes, will be the metropolitan planning area, but this is a national thing. So that's one thing you didn't get the privilege of hearing last time, probably. Okay, sorry, Sean, I missed your way, didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor. Additionally, when we talk about emissions testing, that will not be coming down to the Aurora Hubbard area. The decisions that have been made or discussions still underway to date include the decision was made that the metro planning area will encompass the entire urban growth boundary for Hubbard. Originally, how it was aligned, the new subdivision area that was just annexed in was not included. We decided to expand that boundary to include it. So when we're working on a transportation system plan, it's consistent across the entire city. So that decision was made. Hubbard will be submitting our own transportation improvement plan that's not dictated by the Tri-County Metro. It will encompass our vision, our ideas of how we want Hubbard to look. It'll just be incorporated into the Tri-County Metro area transportation system plan. We have agreed that they're going to let us continue to do our own planning. So we're very encouraged about that. Then also, ODOT has submitted the proposed boundary expansion to the governor for consideration. We were informed early on that the governor had already reviewed and approved this. We found out later on through conversations with the governor's office that she has not approved it. But it is under consideration. We believe that it'll probably be approved. Once it is approved, we have 3 years to work with the Tri-County Metro area to figure out how the Metro Planning Organization, which is the governing body over the planning area, how that's all going to work. So we have quite a bit of time to kind of figure this out. Basically how, to simplify it a little bit, the Metro Planning Organization is like a city council that oversees how the city is run. And so that's what the organization will do. We want to make sure that we're at the table. So usually it's an elected official that sits on that board of the Metro Planning Organization. But again, we have 3 years to kind of figure out how this is going to work for us. So It'll be kind of a long process. I'll be bringing council into this. We'll have to figure out which elected official is gonna represent Hubbard and kind of go from there,
So, take off straws.
right? One thing that I do want to share is that, I've expressed an interest, as others have, that we consider that the North Marion County, create our own metro planning organization. This organization would encompass Woodburn, Jervis, Aurora, Donald, and of course Hubbard. While Jervis, Donald, and Woodburn are not in the metro planning area at this time, we do anticipate that in 2030, the metro planning area will expand out to those areas. There is a caveat with a metro planning organization has to have a population of 50,000 in order to create its own organization. I do believe, as well as others that I've talked to that are interested in forming our own MPO, that the way Woodburn's growing, Donald's growing, Jervis is growing, we've got our subdivision that could grow, we could reach that 50,000. So we are encouraged about that, but we're still kind of waiting to see, but again, we have some time for planning on that.
How close are we to the 50,000 now?
So actually, not including the current growth that is happening in Woodburn, we're pretty close to 30.
Yeah, that would be my assumption. Well, that's when they came on ago.
Yeah, correct.
But I think what Administrator Waite's kind of saying is we're trying to take a proactive approach to it to see how we can maintain our destiny and our control.
Correct.
Any questions for Administrator Waite? Go around, Councilor Riley. Councilor Tennant?
No, I think when I was reading this and you've answered every question I did have, I was just curious how big would that go to find 50,000 people right here? Because I know we're not south of Wilsonville, we don't have that many people. So, but that's by 2030, I see what you mean. Cool.
Yeah, so one thing that I forgot to mention, so one of the things I'm a little bit concerned about is competitive grants. So we have our small city allotment grants that we apply for, being part of the Tri-County metro area. That does increase our competition, and so that will be one area that we work with the governor's office, Marion County, and the metro planning organization to make sure that we're not left out of that mix.
I think the best part about that is just staying vocal, staying visible, staying in front. Councilor Yonley.
I have no questions at this time.
And just to remind council, I still have an action item on my plate to put together an information type video for the public on this, so they can understand the terms, what we're talking about, what's going on. That's still on my plate. I just haven't gotten to it. Okay, if there's no other discussion on that one, let's go ahead and move on, and we'll move on to this number 3, calendar of ordinances. And then straight away, I'll hand it back over to you again.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the ordinance was reviewed and discussed with council at the last meeting. We just need council to make a motion for a first and second reading and a motion to approve.
Perfect. And just to, again, just kind of make sure Council Thomas is up to speed on this, primarily when we did the event review for the Harvest Festival, we were asking quite a few questions and follow-ups. The action here is to make sure that we brought those concerns, formalize it into it, so everyone is going to see. Okay, so with that, just go through the normal motion. I'm going to go ahead and, like, someone else wants to make a motion.
Make a motion to read by title only for the first reading.
I'll second the motion.
Wonderful. Ordinance number 385-2023, an ordinance amending the Hubbard Municipal Code, chapter 10.30, special event permit and city parks, chapter 12.05.
Make a motion to read by title only for second reading.
Okay, ordinance number 385-2023, an ordinance amending the Hubbard Municipal Code, chapter 10.30, special events permit and city parks, chapter 12.05.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 385-2023.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. There you go. Ordinance is adopted unanimously. And then I gotta look to Director Noel to see if we messed anything up before we move on.
No?
Okay, we're good. Yeah. Okay, next one, agenda number 4 is resolution number 769-2023, a resolution amending the City of Hubbard Comprehensive Financial Policies and repealing resolution 486-2009. And again, I will hand this back over to Administrator Wade.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The city adopted the City of Hubbard Comprehensive Financial Plan via resolution number 486-009 in 2009. The policy has not been updated since that time, and several of the areas within the policy are outdated as budgeting and accounting laws and rules have changed over the years. The city is required to follow Oregon budget law and accounting principles, which are updated time to time. To ensure that the city's financial plan / policy stays in compliance with laws and rules, I'm proposing that council consider repealing the resolution and adopting the fiscal year 24-25 financial plan that contains budget policies and practices and financial strategies. The plan takes a more strategic approach to development and execution of the city's annual budget and provides staff with guidance to address areas such as reductions if and when the need arises, financial forecasting, and administration of council goals. This plan will be updated each December in preparation of budget development beginning for the next fiscal year.
First question I would have on you on this one real quick is when I did read it, financial director is mentioned over and over again. We don't have a financial director. Does that language need to be changed to a financial director and or appointed financial lead? Or does it matter?
We can change that, absolutely. I know that, it was in the old policy, so I may have missed some, but.
Yeah, that's why when I was reading, I'm like, okay, it kept coming up and then it had like investment manager, parentheses, financial director. I'm like, okay, this, I just can see it in the future causing a hiccup.
Okay.
That's honestly the only question I have. I'm glad you have identified this need to update, but, Council Aldrich, any questions?
No, it makes sense after 14 years.
2011 was a shot.
Yeah.
Councilor Thomas?
No question.
Councilor Stunning?
The only thing I saw wrong was there's one place where it's 2004 instead of 2024 on the page.
Okay.
Other than that, it's really good. My only question with our options, did you have it gone over by the lawyer? Is it all approved? It sounds good to me, but.
Yeah, so I did run this past, our city attorney. And they had no problem. They said they weren't budget experts at all, so they left that to our discretion. They did review Oregon budget law and they found no concern with it.
Councilor Yonley?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay. On this one, do you want us to look for the approval of the resolution today? And if so, do you want us to just make a motion to approve it with the amended title, whatever we want to call that for the financial director? Okay. Let me see if I don't mess it up then. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve resolution number 769-2023 with the, what is this? With the proposed changes.
Change to. Director two. Yes.
The language to direct, I'm never gonna get this one right. There's a simple way to say it though, isn't there?
Change the verbiage from financial director to City, you say,
There you go, as amended, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution number 7692023 as amended.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, resolution carries unanimously. With that, we will move on to appearances of interested citizens, and if I'm looking online, I do not see any, and we have them in the audience. Just double checking. Okay, if not, we're gonna move right along on this agenda. Let's move on to the mayor and or council presentations. I just have a few updates here real quick, because, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Just, well, I'm gonna be us and, yeah. Real quick, from mine, number one, we had the Christmas tree lighting last Friday. Thank you to Public Works for trimming the trees. They look beautiful. The lights are up and they work for a day, and then half of them went out. Overall, as a rainy event, it was great. I think they had well over 300 plus attendees at the fire hall. I talked with Chief Carmen while we were there. They stopped counting people coming in because it was so packed. It was quite the turnout for a rainy day, and the North Marion Choir and band did a great job performing, so it was fun for all. The other one is Community Forum also happened last week. I know that Councilor Yonley and myself got to attend. My apologies, other councilors could not attend because we could not have a forum there. But again, pleasantly surprised to see that we had quite a few attendees there. Lots of good discussion going on. And quite honestly, just a very light, friendly environment, no contention in the air. So that was nice. The other one is I do want to thank the city on the response that we did to the water crisis last week. I know it was not fun to go through, and I know my water was cloudy, but you guys getting out, walking door to door, lots of folks came up to me and said they truly appreciated it. And if anything, it's the most they talked to any city official forever, when I think you guys talked to them sometimes multiple times. I know it took a while for the water to run through, get cleaned out. But my water as of earlier this week was as clear as it always is. Anyhow, thank you for being proactive on that. Thank you to Superintendent Krebs and for Administrator Waite for me bugging you so late one evening as we were talking on what can we possibly do the next day. So again, thank you for your reaction on that and making it quick. Well, that's all I've currently got. So we'll open up councilors. We'll start with Yonley. Councilor Yonley, anything that you would like to mention, bring up, and or discuss?
Well, I second both of those. We had a good turnout there, the fire hall for our initial, meeting that we had for the community visioning project. And I think we got a lot of good input, although they're going to still be requesting input from the community. There's a lot of different ways for people to do the survey. They can do it online. There's flyers that have been handed out. There were some that were handed out in print that people can turn into the city hall. So we're going to keep moving forward on that. And then on the water quality issue, did we ever figure out exactly what caused the turbidity in the water? Was it, or do we know that?
We do not know that at this time. Nothing happened prior to that, in my opinion, that would have caused such a reaction through the distribution system.
Okay, I was just kind of wondering, was there did the pump pick up a bunch of debris or have some large bolus of air in it or something like that? It was just kind of what I was thinking. So anyway, all right. So I'll thank you for that information. That's all I have for now.
Councilor Thomas?
I have nothing, thanks.
Councilor Rogers?
Other than Love Sun is moving forward, distribution for Woodburn, Hubbard, Donald, and Aurora will take place this Saturday. Woodburn's happening at the Woodburn High School, and Hubbard, Donald, and Aurora residents that have signed up for holiday assistance will be happening at the Donald Fire Hall. That's going full steam ahead. We've got over 525 families throughout the area that have signed up. So.
Wow. That's a huge impact. Councilor Simon? Well, I want to make sure that, yeah, I know, it went from here to there. I was like, oh, wait, hold on, I'm not leaving anyone out here. All right, let's go ahead and move on then. City administration report out. We'll start off with administrator.
Mayor, I
ahead.
apologize. Unfortunately, at this point in time, I am gonna have to leave the meeting. And you and I have discussed why earlier, so
No worries. Thank you for joining as you could, Councilor Youngland.
have a good evening and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
So back to the city administrator report out. We'll start with Administrator Wade.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The fiscal year 23 comprehensive audit has been completed. I will be working with the auditor to schedule the report out. I'm hoping that the report out from the auditor will happen at the January meeting. I have included in your packet the burn rate report, which reflects that we're at 42% through the fiscal year. Our expenditures remain under budget and below the 42%. As of the date of the report, the bank reconciliations have not been completed, which results in the property tax revenue reflecting below the expected burn rate. However, I have completed those reconciliations last week. We have received just over $800,000 in the property tax revenue. We have anticipated 1.09 million in property tax, so we're just about $210,000 under what we projected, which is not unusual. We'll see another spike, probably around March. Overall cash flow to cover anticipated expenditures is good. The city has just over 8 million in the local government investment pool to draw from to cover expenditures. Our expenditures continue to trend low, especially in our personnel services. The result of that, of course, is our vacancy in the police department. However, I'm projecting that savings will be absorbed pretty quickly. We are planning on having a transition between the current chief and the new chief coming in. So there'll be a 1-month overlap. So we'll be paying 2 salaries then. And then also, while the chief and I have been trying to manage his comp time and vacation time as much as possible, we are going to have a payout there. So that will absorb our vacancy savings. I've almost completed the 5-year financial forecast that will be presented at the January council meeting. This will be the kickoff for staff to begin working on budget development for fiscal year 24-25. My intent is to present to the budget committee and council a fleet replacement schedule, also a capital replacement plan with justifications, and then also allow staff more time to prepare their budgets so we can better explain the direction that we're going and how that's going to align to council goals and priorities. A supplemental budget will be coming to you probably in January. That is dependent on when the auditor gets his final report to me. That supplemental, there'll be some cleanup items, but I also want to get our beginning balances adjusted to the audited amounts so that we're ready for budget development. And then as Councilor Youngley talked about, our steering committee for the community vision project has been very active and out in the community and really helping us collect and gather information about what is important to not just our community members, our business owners. Eric Berkey, Michelle Luna, Tammy Sweet, Councilor Youngley, Doug Tyler have all worked very hard to help us with this effort. We're continuing to canvass the community. We are having focus groups that one starts Friday, and then we have more early part of next week with our businesses, Latino community, and then other community members as well. If you're gonna go play trivia tomorrow night at Hubbard Inn, our consultant will be there. I did tell her, do not buy anyone alcohol for filling out a survey, but we will be asking people attending to fill out a survey if they have not filled one out. We also have drop boxes in a couple of the community areas, one at our mobile home area, and then also one at the post office. We have another town hall that's scheduled for January 18th at the fire hall. We will be presenting at that time all of the input that we've received through the survey and our focus groups and sharing that out. That will not be considered a public meeting, so it is more informative. So that is something that all council members can attend because no decisions will be made.
Right, you just answered the question I had. Is there any way we can
Yeah.
avoid that to allow other councilors the opportunity to attend?
Yeah, no decisions will be made, so you're more than happy to, or willing to attend if you want. Additionally, in my report, I talked about, some new federal reporting requirements. We don't have a lot of information on this. The federal government is requiring businesses to sign up on a registry. It doesn't cost them anything. However, if they don't do it, they get fined $500 up to $10,000. Their portal is not up and running yet. It is required for businesses to be registered by January 1. So we're trying to get as much information out to businesses as possible about keep checking this website, keep looking at it. And we had a meeting today to talk to several of the businesses. We had 17 in person and several online because it was virtual and in person. We're going to continue to canvass the business area with flyers and keeping them informed. Again, it's just another program, very little direction, but we're requiring compliance. So it's been a little frustrating for all of us.
What's the threshold for the employee level for them to have to apply? Is it any company, no, regardless of employees?
Any company. So at this point, there's been no direction on if you're a one-person company, you don't have to. They're just saying all companies. They're saying that the reason they're doing this is to detect money laundering. I'm not sure how that's gonna happen, I'll just be honest.
Because we already are governed under the state of Oregon,
Correct.
lands of commerce.
Correct.
And we have to pay a yearly fee or every 2 years, so we'll be current.
Well, your mother's always taught you, again, nothing nice to say. I don't understand where they're going with it, but yeah, it's the same thing that last year with the Venmo transfers and everything else.
So that concludes my report and I will turn it over to Chief Rash.
Before we move on real quick though, any questions from council for Mr. White?
I just don't know how you do it all in a month, but otherwise, thank you.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and move on then to the police department and Chief Rash.
Okay, so, Tim Hart actually started week 5 this week. When I wrote this, it was week 3, so, he's, got a third of the way through, so. He's gonna go next week, and then they have a 2-week sabbatical for the holidays, and then, yeah. So, and then, happy to announce that Andrew Sapp has passed all phases of the hiring process and accepted the position. He is going to be sworn in January 2nd at 1 o'clock here. Yeah, pretty excited when a 22-year-old kid and didn't really care about anything else other than thank you. So, yeah. So we're excited to get him going.
Cool.
And we got him in the academy. He'll graduate May 24th. So
That's exciting. Thinking by May, we will be back up to 4 officers all through the academy. 2 existing, Hart and Sapp.
yeah, we'll have Sergeant Anderson, Officer Bentley, and
Yes.
yeah, and then
Not including the chief, not including.
yeah. And then hopefully we'll have one other, but we're just starting the background. We did lockdown drill at the high school. So it was at all this, or at the middle school and the high school, and we couldn't make it Friday, December 1st. And then there's anybody listening, I don't think we are, but I put some reminders for the holidays. There's always the people who look for packages delivered, and If anybody knows anybody who needs to be added to our, citizens who need assistance or on that letter. So, does anybody have any questions?
I do not. Councilor Young is gone, Councilor Steiner, Councilor Thomas,
I have no question.
Councilor Rogers.
We just have an issue with the elderly lady in town yesterday.
Yeah, it's,
She gonna get the help she needs?
we're working on it. It's, we just received a text from a citizen that she checked on her and she's doing fine, so, yeah. So hopefully we'll keep checking on her and, yeah.
Thank you.
It's a lot of challenges on that, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and move on then to administrative department and Director Rowe.
On my report, unfortunately, we did not get the grant that we applied for the comprehensive plan update. We did have funds budgeted for this project. And we met with the COG and we are going to purge forward with it. And they said that there could potentially be some other funds available down the line. So the piece of it that we might not be able to do at this time, which would come later anyway, would be the urban road boundary expansion piece of it. So the buildable lands inventory, they're going to continue on down that path and we're just going to purge forward unless you guys say, no, let's not do that.
Well, we know we have to do it anyhow.
Right.
It's outdated and we've already consumed our 20-year supply. So it's something we do. It's just one of those necessary, back to back term taxes. We have to move forward and just get it done. If we don't do it, then we're not going to get grants. We don't have opportunities for future funding.
I do appreciate that the COG, while we didn't get the grants, they are gonna go ahead and move forward on their costs to do the building land inventory.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a rejection letter in a long time. So, man, it hurts.
I don't have anything, further unless you have questions.
Councilor Steiner,
You not?
Councilor Thomas.
I have no question.
Okay.
No questions, thank you.
The only thing I'm gonna say here and throw about is I got my newsletter in today. It's not late. All right, let's just keep moving on so we can all go home and enjoy family time. Public Works Department. Superintendent Krebs.
Okay, you've got my report, a couple of things, to update you on. Yeah, the spray farm assembly, I had somebody, come by earlier in the week, to take a look at it. Well, it was actually last week, and yeah, it's pretty much junk. So he's gonna put together a proposal for us to see what it would cost to either rebuild and or replace. Remember that piece of equipment was installed in 1967. So I think we got our use out of it. Secondly, we lost another one of the older, motors at the wastewater plant, the lower side. That one had been in service since 1984. So we got to use out of that one also.
Was that the one that was super loud down there all the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss that. Yeah. Oh, my God. All right.
The update on the, water crisis that we had is we have continued to do some testing and, the initial bacterial test came out clean, as did the, 4 that we did afterwards. They were routine, but they still came out clean and they were taken at 4 different spots in the community. The ones we are waiting on now are the ones that take a little bit longer. They're what's called VOC, volatile organic carbons. So they check for oils and that sort of thing. We should be getting a report on them sometime next week.
Now, I understand you guys are gonna do an after action report on this one as well, or some sort of a debrief on it. Because, I know when we spoke that one night, to me, it looked just like the city water 20 years ago when I was in Aurora, when they flushed the system, we'd have a little bit of discoloration for a while. So I was assuming it was probably some sort of a discoloration just in the pipes. But we've never determined that to this day.
Well, the thing about it is, to our knowledge, nothing happened that would have, created a situation like that. Under certain hydraulic conditions, fast running water such as your flushing fire hydrants, or, Jim Youngley said air, that's possible. Low pressure, high pressure, such as pipe breaking, also causes those kind of conditions. We didn't have any of that. So it's that I could put my finger on. I spent, most of the day Thursday, checking into that sort of stuff, and it just wasn't anything that I could put my finger on that would have caused that. But yeah, we're, sure at this point that what it was just debris inside the pipe.
No noticeable dips in the water,
Nope.
Usually
Use or
a bunch of tenders in the middle of the night went out and drilled.
yeah, well, that was, thought we had was, okay, they had a fire and they were pulling off, fire hydrants to fill up the tenders, and, there wasn't.
No, not the kind of one.
Yeah,
Were you ever able to isolate the start of it? Because I know you knew it wasn't in the pumps, it wasn't on the well, it wasn't in the tower. Do we have any idea where it started?
the only indication that we have of where it was affected, and that was in, your neighborhood. It was from, D to J between 7th and 4th was the main area. And I even looked at some of the businesses that would have the possibility of backflow into the system, but they had no indication of that had happened. So,
I think it's a great learning experience at this point in time. It's been rectified, and I look forward to hearing what the outcome of the debrief or after action, whatever we want to call it, is going to be.
so that's about all my updates. Do you have any questions for me?
Any update from the railroad yet on approval to finish that thing off come good weather?
We're still waiting on the signed contract being sent back from the railroad.
Okay. Still open one day. No, I don't have a whole lot more. Thank you for hanging up the Christmas decorations or holiday decorations, so we want to look at it. Appreciate that. It's nice to see it festive out there.
Well, one thing I do want to add, it's in my report, but I want a big shout out to Aaron and Peyton for painting a new Christmas card for us. They did a wonderful job.
Right. It's really nice out there.
Okay, questions, Steiner? Council Thomas? Council Rogers?
No questions, thank you.
All right, we'll wrap that one up. Other agency reports, I don't think I see Chief Carmen on. I did get an opportunity, just for everyone to know, to see their new facilities there, their new, dormers, what was it, I call it? Really nice. It turned out beautifully. Gave me a great tour of it. Nice little private rooms for each person that's on staff. So it was great to see that wrapped up. And of course, thank them for, again, their constant participation in anything the community's doing is always great to see. So beyond that, though, we'll move on to number 9 here, goals and priorities of providing police services. And we're going to hand that over to Administrator Wade.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On November 2nd, 2021, Council reviewed the status of previous goals and identified any new goals in a goal setting session. The updated goals were documented in a March of 2022 document, which listed potential opportunities. One of those opportunities was to provide contract policing services to other Marion County cities. Staff is seeking policy direction from council if the city should begin engagement with cities in North Marion County to provide such services. I would ensure as these conversations occur that the city of Hubbard is the priority, that we will always make sure that police services here in Hubbard happen first. And that any other city that we're providing services for would be based on an overtime or a dedicated officer that we hire. One of the things that I have had conversations with Chief Rash about advantage of hiring an officer that would serve other communities is that we would have a second officer on duty to provide backup or cover in a situation where we would need it in our city. But I wanted to seek council direction on if this is a conversation you want me to start engaging in, or we're not interested.
So my 2 cents on it real quick. Now, I know this is a topic I think Chief Rash and I covered with Donald a few years back. We even brought it to council's attention at that point in time. At that point in time, the city of Donald did not have significant resources to be able to do much. The funds were too limited, and I think the city council was very clear. We were concerned about the wear and tear of our vehicles, our capital expenditures, our officers, et cetera. And the latest approaches that I know that has at least happened, they're talking about actually covering startup costs, everything else that might be associated with it. Cities are pretty desperate at this point in time. They would like to see better police coverage. The only player in town, for lack of a better term, at this point is the Harvard Police Department and/or Marion County. Marion County has the same problem we have. They have staffing shortages and it's overtime pay as well. And other community members have come up and expressed interest. Put it at that. And I've seen interest from the various leaders from the different cities as well about these type of discussions. Nothing committed, nothing confirmed, nothing beyond that. My direction would be, I would like to see us be able to provide these services if we can show that there's a benefit to our city, as well as not diminishing the coverage that we have today, if we can get back up to full staff. That's my point. But this needs to come from, direction from council. So this is our opportunity. If you've got grave concerns about these type of discussions, bring it up now. Start with Councilor Aldridge.
This was a mistake that was done about, 3 or 4 years ago. The city of Jervis took on policing the city of Donald. Now Jervis is 8 miles away, and many people had noticed Jervis officers scattered along that 8-mile stretch, doing a lot of traffic enforcement and literally taking away from their own city of Jervis. Their citizens were not happy with their officers being everywhere else. And they made no bones about it. And they considered that when that term was up for Donald, it was yanked out very, very quickly. And that was deemed a mistake on Jervis's part. Now, we, on the other hand, are in a position where our students work together, mutually go to the same school, and then we're a lot closer. It would make sense that if this is feasible and we can sell it to our citizens as a positive, maybe extra coverage on both ends, then it would have my full support.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent on what those discussions. Councilor Thomas.
Yeah, I think as long as our police department was fully staffed first and foremost, that'd be my biggest concern. Second, I'm all for more police in the area. Certainly in addition to Marion County, I think it would be beneficial. But my only concern would be that we're fully staffed before we would support another city.
Councilor Tony.
I agree also. We would also have to make sure we have room for the officers to be able to have their station or whatever. I don't know if they would all work out of here or how that would work. And just if we are bringing on more people to handle more area, that's more people have to be somewhere. And I know we don't have a lot of space here. But I think as long as we're making sure, like say Hubbard's first, and it gives us an opportunity to bring on more officers for the local area, I think it'd be a great thing. So I would be very excited to see what kind of things we can bring up and come up with.
Donald is up and coming. We've got some new subdivisions going in, some great quality housing. But I also know there's a sentiment out there. A lot of people spend time at the Donald Tavern, and there is no police to stop them from doing whatever it is they want to do out there. It's never always been law enforcement friendly in that town. Because years ago, Hubbard did do some work with OLCC and some of their community. So it's not always been law enforcement friendly, but I do believe there's a big mood that the majority of the residents have seen that and want to bring back some sort of public enforcement.
So I think what you're hearing, at least from a consensus from us, is yes, let's entertain it, move forward with it, with the concern being our own staffing levels here and how can Hubbard benefit at the same time assisting the neighboring cities. Does that make sense?
It does, and I just want to clarify, Donald is not the only city that has asked us to entertain conversations. But I want to be clear that as we're going through any sort of conversations, I will be coming back to council and letting you know how those are going, what that looks like. One of the conversations that we've had with Donald is already is about they don't have a traffic court right now, so they do have municipal for ordinances. That could be a potential revenue stream for us if we do their traffic court. So those are some things that I'm looking at as well as we have those conversations. So I'll be providing updates. Our first meeting, we were waiting to schedule it until our councils approved us to move forward with conversations. So those won't start until probably mid-January.
Okay, thank you.
So, can I add?
Absolutely.
Just some feedback I get from the officers who have left here, obviously, money, right? But the other thing is opportunities, limited in opportunities here. Expanding the police department will create more opportunities for officers and may help in the long run of retention. Yeah, so those are a couple things too. Yeah.
Completely agree. All right, with that consent agenda, would be the next topic. I'll go ahead and read the consent agenda. First one is A, approval of the city minutes, city council minutes, October 25, 2023 special, November 7th, 2023 special, and then approval of the November 2023 check register report.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda as read.
So, second.
We have a motion and a race to the second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Okay, consent agenda does pass unanimously. Do we have any other city business?
One that popped into my head, did the governor's action a week or two ago about dismissing traffic fines to 10,000 people have any effect
Yeah.
Yes.
on us here?
Yes, we just got the list of, and it's about 3 pages long. I'm just starting to pull now about how much money it's gonna be. I know the last time it was about $10,000. It's gonna go over that, I believe, this time, because the list looked longer to me, but I think the list was also a little convoluted. ODOT didn't do the best job of sorting and double checking things on their Excel spreadsheet that was sent to me, so it's gonna be a bit of a process to go through and make sure everything's accurate. But as soon as I get that done, I'll let you guys know like how much it's gonna affect us.
I would like to know that,
Yeah, dollar wise.
dollar-wise.
Yeah, I believe you brought it back to our attention 6, 7 months ago. I'm trying to remember how long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
The first
first
go,
one.
the first go around, that was with Governor Brown, and now Governor Kotek just
did it.
decided to do the same thing. So-
Makes you wonder why we hand out tickets. Or all the payments. All right, any other city business?
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, I just read this about an hour before I came in here, or 2 hours. Just 114, the gun measure. It looks like there's another hearing on January 2nd. The mayor, the governor and attorney general and the superintendent of state police filed there's some paperwork that was filed on December 7th or 8th. So it is not dead yet. So we may, again, I don't know of anything. We have the chiefs meeting January 10th, then I'm hoping to have more information if we have stuff in place.
Thank you for the update. Any other city business? If not, it's the favorite agenda topic of the night.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye, all right. We're out, we're done.
Great holiday.
Okay.